Education Policy 2010 is appealed to come out of this unproductive general education and to emphasize a technical education. But still, if my opponents was to step into the shoes of their first speaker, then they will also give such motionless, emotional speech. Like my opponents may tell, general education is beneficial to the individual as well as to the state. If so, then why 50% students are dropping out at the primary level and 80% even before secondary? It's because neither the students nor their poor parents find any realistic benefit out of this general education. Now my opponents may tell, general education will give aesthetic and spiritual development. We are already cursed by 30 million unemployed youth as a blessing of your general education. Then what it can give us further if we emphasize it? Nothing but some hypothetically spirited, unproductive and unskilled citizens. Now my opponents may tell, investing in general education is much more profitable. Then dear audience, let me inform them that according to the report of ILO, the contribution of general education in Bangladesh is minus 1.9%, whereas we can easily boost up our economy by making the 71% unskilled empires working in different industrial skills by investing in technical education. Thus, I'm effectively closing all the probable arguments of my opponents against this proposition. So I believe they will no more come up with emotions and contradictions, because if they show their emotion for general education, they will directly contradict with the development of our country. There's no doubt technical education is more important in Bangladesh. With this, I'd like to conclude. Thank you to your opponents. Thanks to all.
If we give more emphasis to my opponent's speeches for just 30 seconds, then we will have our highly qualified engineers in charge of different foreign projects, and most of our meritorious students will be the settled citizens of those developed countries with several lucrative jobs. But bulk of them aren't ready to work for their own country due to lack of patriotism. Our doctors will always hanker after money, and without money, none of them will respond to treat you, as most of them are lacking in humanity. So dear opponents, if this is your development, then where is the benefit in your more important technical education, and how or by your which technical education you are going to teach those people the lesson of humanity, patriotism, devotion or dedication? I hope you will answer. Honorable Moderator, distinguished panel of judges, today's August gathering, and obviously, my dear opponents, the topic for today's debate is technical education is more important than general education in Bangladesh, and the present condition of our country has bound me to stand against the motion. Honorable Moderator, the advanced stage of technical education needs some preconditions like infrastructure of general education, qualified teachers, proper power supply, and modern equipment for our classrooms and laboratories. But my opponent speakers has taken our development process as an elevator that they will just switch on the button and directly go to the highest peak of development. But in the practical scenario of our country, that elevator will be brought down to the ground with a massive destruction, as they neglected most of the preconditions of technical education. Again, my opponent's second speaker has time and again told that we are still an underdeveloped country because we are poor in technical education. But for your kind information, in a question, Nobel laureate Amartya Sen replied, we, the Bengalis, are poor because we are poor. We are poor because we are poor in honesty. We are poor in dedication, hard labor, patience, tolerance, benevolence, and mutual trust. Though a democratic country, we are also poor in democratic practices, and all these are nothing but the lackings of general education. Yes, we are also poor in technical education, which is only a single index. But leaving all the basic indexes, how can you give more importance to only a single index, dear opponents? Remember, standing in the 4th decade of our independence, our poor motherland is still surrounded, affected and suffocated by a series of problems like overpopulation, poverty, illiteracy, corruption, political unrest, juvenile delinquency, religious fanaticism, superstitions, extreme fundamentalism, blah blah blah. And to solve all these problems, we need general education first and then technical education. That is, we need to learn our manners and etiquettes, norms and customs customs, principles, and traditions. Honorable moderator, for lack of blessings of general education, we have made a world record by becoming champion in corruption for 5 times consecutively. So here, the thing is like that, the more one is educated in our country, the more he is corrupted. And in such a situation, dear opponents, can your impractical imagination of technical education keep ourselves far from being corrupted? Can it instill the quality of patriotism in us? Can your more important technical education make your political parties respectful to others' opinion? Here, the only answer to all these questions is simply no. So dear opponents, where every year 24 lakhs of our children are becoming fit for going schools, where every year we need 7,000 more new educational institutions, where every year about 9% of our children are dropping out, there, without ending general education, without entering their primary education, how can you think of technical education? And more you want to give more importance to it? How ridiculous, dear opponents. According to the economic survey of 2010, where 53% people of our country are having no electricity, there my learned opponents are dreaming of technology. Where our whole southern and most of our northern part haven't seen the face of gas line, there my opponent speakers are still dreaming of new mills and factories. Surely, they're looking for a high-rise building without any foundation, and similarly, they're looking for technical education, neglecting the very base that is general education. August gathering, you say that doesn't it prove that my opponent speakers are only building castle in there? Of course they are. So your opponents, please wake up from your dreams and try to realize the reality. There you will find that both technical and general education are equally important. Rather, at present, in the context of our country, general education is much more important. I repeat, general education is much more important than technical education. Thank you all for your passion sharing. Thank you.
Our second speaker expressed his conception about technical education in a very narrow way. My learning opponent never jumble up technical education with vocational education. You must understand, vocational education is a very small portion of technical education. It's impossible for an individual to be the master of all existing trades of education. So, while acquiring knowledge, we have to choose a particular system and definitely a particular sector of education. Due to expansion of science and technology, ultimately all the sectors of education enter into its technical sides. Technical education of multivarious subjects deserve the credit for making an enlightened world now we are living in. Respected Cadet President, learned judges and August gathering, Assalamu alaikum and a very good day. Today, in Inter-Cadet College English Debate Competition, we are here to fight in a verbal war about the issue technical education is more important than general education in Bangladesh. Definitely, due to some obvious reasons, my firm stand is for the motion. Technical education is designed to provide opportunities to the learners to acquire professional skills. It includes software development, mass media, engineering, applied science, interior designing, garments, leather, ceramic, glass industry. Why not? If you search in the websites bdjobs.com or freelanceronline.com, then you will see every employment sector requests technical knowledge and experiences. Since long, my learning opponents have been trying to establish general education as a better option. They mention some merits of it, like general education socializes us, develops our patriotism, dedication, moral values, improves our aesthetic sense, etc. But my learning opponents, when you are hungry, the enormous beauty of moon would fascinate you and make you write poems. Rather, at that moment, a piece of bread would be more desirable to you. So, dear friends of opposition, first you meet your hunger and survive. If you can survive, then you will get lot many scopes to improve your aesthetic sense. Here, first priority for the people of Bangladesh is economic solvency and its technical education, which can help us for this. My learning opponents, we train our vast population as a burden for us, but a well-trained and skilled population no more remain as a burden. Rather, they are regarded as the most precious resource, that's human resource. Overpopulated countries like China, Japan, India are the glaring examples. So, in this regard, there is no other option but to make our vast population technically trained. Thus, our well-trained workforce can go abroad and strengthen the position of Bangladesh in international job market and send remittance to our country. Dear opponents, do you have any idea how much remittance contributes in gross national product of Bangladesh? According to National Economic Review, in fiscal year 2008 to 2009, this amount is 9689.16 million US dollar. That's around 11% of the total GNP. But as we have got a vast population, so we have got more and more scopes to increase our income in remittance sector. Even then, why can't we do so? Any good explanation by learning opponents? Only because due to lack of technical education, our people are going abroad and getting their odd jobs with very less salary. In this way, we are losing remittance costing $1 million. My learning opponents, it surprises us that agriculture sector contributes 20.6% in our GDP, whereas 48.1% of the total labor force are involved in it. But why this imbalance? Only because our farmers lack technical knowledge about the modern trend of cultivation. Even then, how can my learning opponents say general education is more important in Bangladesh than technical education? My question goes to you. Few minutes back, one of my learning opponents blamed that technical education lacks the humanizing influence of general education. But for your kind information, technical institutions also include humanity-oriented subjects. So you see, technical education provides us with economic solvency along with moral values. On the other hand, general education burdens us with a good number of learning unemployed people. I think my learning opponents, now it's distinct. Which one is better for Bangladesh? Technical education or general education? If still my learning opponents think that we require a good number of socialized, learning, unemployed people for our national prosperity, then I have got nothing to say more. My dear friends of the position, I won't tell that we should make ourselves career-oriented robots. Yes, I admit both technical knowledge and humanizing influence are required for a person's complete development, and for this, technical education is a better option, as we are getting both in it. So my learning opponents, let us not waste our time. Please come to light, think logically, and say unanimously, technical education is definitely more important than general education in Bangladesh. With this, I would like to conclude. Thank you, my learning opponents. Thank you all.
Tohar Rizvi, Azad Chaudhary, Jafar Iqbal are all clerks. And if they are clerks, my dear opponents are simply jokers. Dear opponents, according for your kind information, Albert Einstein himself was also a clerk. And my dear opponents throughout this speech have told that technical education is easier to achieve, so it is more democratic. But dear opponents, in this world of democracy, if the whole population of the world says the sun rises in the west, will it be true? Common sense answers no, but my dear opponents are trying to answer yes. So where it is, I do not know. By regarding technical education, more important, my opponents are proposing for a Bangladesh with an electrician as the president, welder as the prime minister, masons, carpenters as ministers, secretaries, additional secretaries. Mr. Chairman, today the topic of debate is technical education is more important than general education in Bangladesh. And I shall speak against the motion. Throughout the speeches, my dear opponents have forwarded following logics. We are earning remittance by exporting laborers, about textile sector and general education being expensive. Let me forward my counter logics first. Yes, we do earn remittance by exporting laborers to foreign countries. It is well, it is good, but it doesn't mean that it is the best. Our neighboring country, India, is exporting generally educated scientists to NASA, and each scientist earns $88,000 per month. So which one is better? Question remains to the common sense of my dear opponents. Dear opponents, you have told about textile sector. Yes, we do really appreciate the contribution of our technical hands. But it is not the sole contribution of the technologists only. Rather, with our fashion designers, textile engineers, these people are quite useless. And lastly, for my second opponent, general education is really the foundation of all knowledge, according to world-renowned academicians like E. Marjorie Susan Friends. So if she thinks she knows better, then God, please serve me. My second opponent told, according to the data of ILO, the contribution of general education in Bangladesh is minus 1.9%. Sorry to say, the actual figure is 11.9%. So if you see that one is inclined, please do have your eyes checked. We know the sphere of education is so vast. Education is divided into four major faculties: arts and humanities, science, social science, and business studies. Science is again divided into two branches: pure science and applied science. Applied science is subdivided into three disciplines: engineering, technology, and your technical education. Here, technical education is a minor, microscopic part of the total education system. So dear opponents, please don't take upon to be the Pacific. My learned opponents are mistaken when they are thinking technology and technical education are the same. No, we have got a separate technical education board here in Bangladesh, and passing from there, no one gets chance in any universities of engineering and technology because they are different. Encyclopedia Britannica also finds that engineering and technology is completely separated from technical education. Technical education does not produce any masterminds, planners, or executives. It at best can give us some workforce through vocational training. So dear opponents, do you think that human beings need only muscles and no brains? If your answer is yes, then let me say a rickshaw puller is better than a Stephen Hawking because he have got more muscles. Mr. Chairman, during global economic recession 2009, 5 million people lost their jobs. And out of these 5 million people, 98.22% were low-grade workers and laborers, as per the data of ILO. So technical education does not provide the minimal guarantee of livelihood even. According to my last opponent, we are fighting over the topic. But dear opponents, when you have come to fight, please do make sure that you haven't left your hands behind. My dear opponents, we all know today is the era of information technology, but does IT really needs a lot of technicians? According to the annual report of Microsoft Incorporated 2010, 40% of their total workers are executives, 25% are marketing officers. Here, the sweeping majority comes from general education. So even IT does not require a lot of technicians. Mr. Chairman, in a talk show on 10th August 2011, Dr. A.K. Azad Chaudhary, the chairman of UGC and the former vice chancellor of Dhaka University said, our education standard is quite disheartening, and the only way to keep pace with present world is tertiary education. Dear opponents, your technical education does never rise to the tertiary level. It simply ceases at the secondary level. Mr. Chairman, the priority of technical education will win the world, will win the civilization, will jeopardize humanity. If technicians come to dominate, then our law and order, trade and commerce, economy, international relations, in short, all our achievement will decline. There will be a great chaotic situation everywhere. So, for the sake of our peaceful existence and harmonious growth, general education must reign supreme, standing on the 21st century, dear opponents. If you want to be the laborers of other countries, then let me say, may God be with you and your so-called technical education. But if you want to be the rulers instead of being the ruled, if you want to stand in the same rank with the developed countries, then please say with me that it is general education that we should emphasize upon. Thank you all.
Beautiful comparison between technical and general education, giving more importance on general education. But logic says something different. According to Bangladesh Educational Journal, published from Ministry of Education in April 2011, it takes 9 to 10 years with session jam in universities for students starting their career after HSC exam. And getting a job is a matter of far away. On the other hand, students generally from the background of technical sector become self-sufficient after their SSC exam. When the educationalists of the country realize the fact about technical education, then how can you say general education is more important? Quite ridiculous. Mr. Cabinet President, learned judges and audience gathering present over here. Good morning to you all. In the session of English debate competition of Integrated College Literary and Music Meet 2011, the motion selected is technical education is more important than general education in Bangladesh. My first speaker against the motion pointed out technical education has an unnecessary the builder of second class and hollow people. Quite amazing. Let's see what data says. Bangladesh, South Korea and Malaysia started their economic journey in 1972 with gross national product of $500 US. Later on, Malaysia emphasized on technical education for developing their trade, commerce, agriculture and tourism, and the present GNP is $10,000 US. Again, it's needless to say about South Korea. They have brought a tremendous change in the sector of technology through technical education within this period of time. And for getting the proof, put off your wristwatch and see what's written in back. Made in China, made in Japan, made in South Korea. So telling out made in Bangladesh. While South Korea has the GNP of $12,000 US with 56.25% technical educated population, then we're moving with the per capita income of only $1,189 US with British system of general education. What a pathetic scenario. My second speaker against the motion told about the huge expenditure of technical education than general education. But for your better information, steps have already been taken to establish 43 technical institutes over the country in the year 2010. In the same year, UNESCO offered $1.2 billion US for developing our technical education and technical sector. Moreover, the Australian government extended their helping hands to provide us with different facilities. However, in this situation, you have to take the decision. So, my dear opponents, question to you, which one is more important, technical education or general education? Mr. President, my party speaker against the motion firmly spoke on the possibilities of youth and smartly led the track of employment and job market. What an authentic idea. Let us get back in track. According to VITA 2010, table number 02PA, once China enrolls their 52% of their total population towards technical education, reducing their unemployment rate to 10.67%. Then, when not even fit for the heat of the race with only 1.25% technical educated population. Simply disgraceful. August gathering. My respected three members of the opposition party consecutively tried to prove that general education gives high priority for study of German people. What a great logic. According to Bangladesh Bureau of Information Statistics and Technology, about 42% of female students and 41% of male students do not get chance in public universities after HS exam, and 26% of them become completely unemployed. Hearing all of this, if I can give high priority to general mass of people of general study denying technical education, then I must pronounce in the voice of Alexander. Oh, Seleucus, what a multicolor country it is. Dear cadets from 2 cadet colleges, when we're enjoying this fantastic debate competition in this beautiful auditorium of 4th Cadet College, then can you say why 24.67% of our population is starving? Can you say why 31.83% of our population who are educated but unemployed are wearing their soles of the shoes in search of jobs? I know the answers, but my dear friends of the opponents are keeping themselves quiet. August gathering. Bangladesh is a third world country. It has the dire urge and necessity to cope up with the challenges of today's world. If you ask my friends of the opponents why we are lagging behind after 40 years of our liberation, then they may keep themselves quiet. But the answer is lack of proper planning, lack of proper education, which refers to education through technology. So undoubtedly it can be said that technical education is more important than general education in Bangladesh. So no more altercation. Let's change ourselves. Let's move together. Let's be the Bangladesh more beautiful with the help of technical education. In front of the future leaders of the country, let us take the oath to build a better future, a better nation with the help of technical education. With that very hope in mind, I would like to conclude here. Thank you. Thanks to everyone.
Speeches of my wise opponents, it seems as if they are trying to run without learning to walk. My first opponent asked when did general education start in Bangladesh, and he himself answered that during the British period. But dear opponents, general education is the result of continuous reconstruction of ideas from the early age of civilization. How do you expect someone with low initial general education to possess the skills of a vocational education? Dear opponents, it's of course an excellent idea to train a carpenter's son in the latest development of his trade. But remember, it is ridiculous to expect him to become a first-rate engineer unless he has gone through general education. Most respected President, today's judges and today's August House, for obvious reasons I speak against today's proposition. Technical education is more important than general education in Bangladesh. Let me start my speech with counter-arguments. My second opponent said necessity knows no laws. But dear opponents, law is enforced by general education and necessity is enforced by technical education. Yes, technical education doesn't know the importance of general education. Again, my third opponent spoke about hunger. But dear opponents, how will you meet your hunger? It's by agronomy, and that is itself a part of general education. Now let me come to my points. Starting my speech with a survey, Mr. President. When Bragg started a program of research, employers initially told Bragg that they sought a program with strong technical focus. But later, it emerged that they preferred graduates who could demonstrate a strong area of analytical skills and a well-rounded ability to think. Dear opponents, if you still act blind to this fact, then I would blame you. Rather, I would try to recall the inventor of spectacles, spinners, to invent a high-power spectacle for you to make it clear that technical education is never more important than general education. Again, my third opponent speaker spoke about unemployment. But dear opponents, do you think that the situation will always remain same? Of course, no. In the human capital framework, general education creates general human capital and technical education creates specific human capital. People with general education can easily manage job in any sectors, while those with technical education can't. Even a person with a particular technical skill may remain unemployed for the changing technology. Let me give you an example. Sri Lanka today has 98% literacy rate with less vocational institutions but very good schools. Now see what happened. In 2007, when tsunami hit both Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, a tsunami affected Sri Lankan farmer with his docile, expedient knowledge worked as a municipal worker. But look at us. We had no place to go and no work to do. So, dear opponents, will your technical education save us from further disasters? Or will it give us the magical lamp of Aladdin? Again, my fourth opponent has spoken about China. But, dear opponents, you've forgotten to point out the fact that during the Cultural Revolution and after the Great Leap Forward in China, an anti-intellectual movement grew up prioritizing technical education. Even they turned many of their schools into vocational centers. But what was the ultimate result? A huge gap in administration and a huge gap in leadership. Dear opponents, are you still trying to head for such a disaster knowing all the consequences? Hopefully, you'll give your answer. Again, my fourth opponent told about how we can get out of our today's poor condition by economy, etc., whatever they said. But dear opponents, before going for your solution, have you ever thought why we are in such a state? Why we are still with the level, developing country, proudly wearing the crown of corruption for consecutive 5 years? Look back to your opponents. The last and heinous attack of the Pakistanis was killing of intellectuals in 1971. Because they knew very well that a country can't stand erect without a good governance. And now, we need such an education which will promote intellectual identity, and that could be done only and only by general education. I repeat, dear opponents, only by general education. Again, my fourth opponent cited examples of China and Korea. But dear opponents, you have forgotten to point out the fact that they have declined the rate of enrollments. Rate of enrollments in vocational education declined from 44% in 1970 to 22% in 1971 in Indonesia and from 22% to 30% in Korea. Dear opponents, if you still try to prioritize technical education, then I have to say, yes, someone truly said, common sense is not common to all. Again, my opponents thought about how we can have a skilled manpower. But dear opponents, I don't understand your simple equation. People without patriotism equal to development of the nation. Students from your polytechnical institutions are actually going abroad. Then what's the use of it? Again, if this country stopped taking manpower like the way Malaysia did, you spoke about Malaysia, then what would you do? Will you send them to Mars arranging employment there? So, if you want to give your answers, you're bound to prioritize general education. Otherwise, if Mahatma Gandhi was alive, he would have surely warned you from committing 4 sins. That is, prioritizing science without humanity, pleasure without conscience, knowledge without character, and commerce without morality. Thanks to most respected President. Thank you.
Jobs, former CEO and founder of world's leading computer brand Apple. This man had to quit jail education in university, being unable to bear expenses. But later on, receiving technical education, he turned an entire electronic junkyard of Silicon Valley into world's largest computer industry. Probably, your opponent friends will end up saying he was just a real mega mind. But your opponent, this was only a simple example of how effectively technical education can help us change our lot. Judicious panel of judges in August House, the topic of today's debate is technical education is more important than jail education in Bangladesh. I'm speaking for the motion. Dear opponent, I don't understand what they really understand by technical education, but for your kind information, by technical education, we people never meant learning to manufacture sci-fi robots or to summon aliens from space. But it's a branch of education which deals practically in the field of trade, commerce, agriculture, medicine, and engineering. Here I am not to sing the lullaby of technical education, but to prove how important it is than the obsolete jail education system in Bangladesh. Well, although third speaker said we are standing in the 21st century, and yes, we are, but even after major breakthroughs in the field of science and technology, we have totally failed to implement those right here in our country through jail education. It's only for the lack of technical education we don't dare to take a single step without the direction of foreign forces who hardly cares about our national interest. It will be crystal clear if you look back at Tangratila or Magunchora gas field led by Canadian company Nyko or the cracks in Jamuna Bridge under Japanese organization Zika. Because of our lack of technical expertise, these foreigners will be exploiting us forever. And we the Bangladeshis will be sitting and sucking our thumbs. I see my foreign friends are so obsessed watching the latest Harry Potter movie that they hardly realize what's going on in the real world. Just look at the super villainous nation Israel. Imparting technical education, it has turned out world's leading weapon exporters, whereas having only 3% technical learning, Palestine is still having a drowning economy. Your opponent, war market is not the hot seat of Kaun Banega Crorepati, where you can earn millions overnight through general education. But for a sound economy, there is no way out without boosting up industrialization, which is only achievable importing technical education. Well, almost second and fourth speaker has tried to find out the loopholes of technical education, but very cleverly avoided the fact that general education is the sole producer of school dropouts and unemployed people in our country, whereas technical education is mutating them into skilled manpower. A glaring example are the semi-literate workers of Dholaikal, which is known as the nirvana of reverse engineering in Dhaka. Only technical education has made it possible for them to assemble vehicles ranging from local Nosimons to Porsche Rollets. Let me remind you, the aim of education is to produce skilled manpower, not some blockheaded mumbo-jumbos with useless philosophy. Well, probably the third or fourth speaker has forgot. At present, we are undergoing acute crisis of energy, which due serious concern over power generation. And for your kind information, BAEA has already decided setting up nuclear power plants in Rupur, Pabna. These type of mega projects in future requires a large number of technicians of high caliber. Now, my question is, where from will these new professionals evolve without technical education? Probably, my wise opponents have already decided to stand this over to their foreign bodies and act out like the puppets of Sisimpur. Please, forget your sweet dreams of self-reliance. Many of you sitting here will be stunned to know that Dr. Enamu, an ex-cadet of RCC, earned the prestigious Brain of Korea Award for technical research under a South Korean university. Amazingly, he was deprived of the minimum technical education under his own faculty in Dhaka University. Your opponent, this is how, only for the lack of technical education, our masterminds are simply vanishing off and turning into foreigner sect. As a matter of fact, our Bangladesh has delusions, no dream. And so my opponent friends are supporting an education system which is producing bunches of corrupt leaders, evil administrators, and of course, perverted teachers like Podimo. Whereas technical education has radicalized our economy, giving rise to the most prospective branches like RMG, pharmaceutical, shipbuilding, and IT industry. Even bustling giants like China, Vietnam, and India has turned it impossible to attend economic growth